Welcome back to Anti-Societal. Has it ever happened that your heart suddenly starts beating really fast for no reason at all? Or over something small, your mind creates such a storm of thoughts that you end up losing sleep for nights? Like feeling suffocated in a crowded place, your hands turning cold before a big meeting, or when someone doesn't reply to your message and your mind starts running through thousands of negative thoughts. These are feelings that many of us go through. Sometimes it even feels like our own mind is out of our control, trapping us in a never-ending cycle of worry, fear, and exhaustion. If this sounds familiar, just know you are not alone in this journey. Today, we're going to dive deep into this state. And from here, a very basic question comes up. Is our mind working against us? It's a strange feeling, right? Your body is yours, your mind is yours, but it doesn't listen to you. It tells you stories that have nothing to do with reality. It shows you dangers that don't even exist, and it convinces you that something really bad is about to happen. So in today's breakdown, we'll try to understand this inner battle, why our mind does this, and what methods we can use to reprogram it and turn it from an enemy into our best friend. All right, let's get to the root of the issue. To understand anxiety, it's important to know that it doesn't come from just one place. In our brain, there are actually two completely different systems working behind it. One is called the amygdala, the emotional brain. This is a very old part of the brain. Think of it like a guard whose job is to detect danger and immediately sound the alarm. It's very fast and very emotional. On the other side, we have the cortex, the thinking brain. This is the newer, more advanced part that handles logic and planning. It's very smart, but it's also the part that keeps creating what-if questions and pulls us into worry. Understanding the difference between these two is the first and most important key to managing anxiety. Whenever sudden panic hits, it's important to ask, is this a quick reaction from the amygdala, or is it the result of slow overthinking from the cortex? Because both types of anxiety need completely different solutions. One is connected to the body, the other to your thoughts. So let's understand both a little deeper. First, the amygdala. This part of the brain is built purely for survival. Its only job is to detect danger and prepare your body for fight or flight. When it gets activated, it releases chemicals in your body. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles tighten, all to prepare you to face danger. The problem starts when there's no real danger, but the amygdala still sounds the alarm. Often this happens because of old, buried memories. For example, if you once got lost in a crowd as a child, you might suddenly feel anxious in a mall today without even knowing why. This kind of fear is intense and feels out of control. Now, let's talk about the cortex. This is the logical, analytical part of the brain. The anxiety that comes from the cortex doesn't hit suddenly. It builds slowly. It's a web of thoughts that we create ourselves. For example, if you're preparing for a job interview, the cortex starts thinking, what if I answer something wrong? What if they don't like me? What if I don't get the job? What will happen to me? One negative thought leads to another, and your mind builds the worst-case scenario. In this type of anxiety, you might look calm on the outside, but inside there's a storm of thoughts. It's like a mental movie that you write, direct, and then scare yourself with. Now that we understand these two sides of anxiety, let's talk about how to deal with them. First, the intense physical anxiety that comes from the amygdala. The most important thing to understand is that when the amygdala is active, your logical brain, the cortex, is almost offline. At that moment, telling yourself there's nothing to worry about doesn't work. It's like trying to argue with a fire instead of putting it out. The amygdala doesn't understand words. It understands signals from the body. So the only way to calm it down is by sending signals through your body that everything is safe. One of the most powerful techniques is box breathing. When we panic, our breathing becomes fast and shallow, which sends even more danger signals. Box breathing breaks this cycle. The method is simple. Sit comfortably, breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, breathe out slowly through your mouth for 4 seconds, and then hold again for 4 seconds. That's one cycle. Just a few rounds can calm your nervous system and tell your brain that the danger is over. There are other physical techniques too. One is grounding. When your mind gets lost in fearful thoughts, bring your attention back to the present using your senses. Name 5 things you can see. Touch 4 things and notice how they feel. Listen to 3 sounds around you. This simple exercise pulls you out of the storm in your head and brings you back to reality. Splashing cold water on your face can also reset your nervous system. Or just get up, walk around for a bit, and focus on your steps and breathing. Now, what about the anxiety that comes from thoughts? For that, we need to work directly on the mind and retrain the cortex. This type of anxiety is based on cognitive distortions, wrong thinking patterns that twist reality like a distorted mirror. These are just bad thinking habits that make us believe negative things even if they're not true. Let's look at a few examples. First, catastrophizing, assuming the worst possible outcome. If I'm late to the meeting, I'll get fired. A more realistic thought, if I'm late, I'll apologize and explain. Second, mind reading, assuming we know what others are thinking. They didn't reply, they must be upset with me. Better thought, they're probably just busy. Third, all or nothing thinking, seeing everything as either perfect or a failure. If I don't get full marks, I'm a failure. Better thought, even if I don't do well, I'll learn something. The good news is our brain is not fixed, it's flexible. Science calls this neuroplasticity. This means we can rewire our brain. Every time we think differently or act differently, new pathways are formed. At first, they're weak, like a small trail in the grass, but the more we use them, the stronger they become. Eventually, it becomes easier for the brain to follow these calmer, more realistic paths instead of the old negative ones. Now we come to the deepest part of this discussion, the power of acceptance. Our natural reaction is to run away from anxiety. We distract ourselves, suppress it, or avoid situations that trigger it. But this creates a bigger problem. The more we run, the stronger the fear becomes. We're basically teaching our brain that this thing is dangerous. So what's the alternative? Acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you like anxiety or that you're giving up. It means allowing yourself to feel it without judging it, like standing in the rain and letting yourself get wet instead of trying to stop the rain. When you sit with the feeling and observe it, you send a powerful message to your brain. This is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. Slowly, your brain starts reacting less intensely. And finally, stop seeing anxiety as an enemy. Start seeing it as a teacher, a messenger. Anxiety is often trying to tell you that something in your life isn't right. Maybe you need more rest. Maybe you need to set boundaries in a relationship. Or maybe you're living against your own values. When you see it this way, fear turns into curiosity. So let's end with one question I want you to take with you. What is your anxiety trying to teach you? Thinking about this question is the beginning of turning fear into wisdom. It helps you realize that your mind is not your enemy. It's just trying to protect you, even if it's doing it the wrong way. And once you understand this, you can retrain it and create your own path towards peace. If this breakdown helped you understand your mind better, share it with your friends and family who want to improve their lives. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep, life-changing insights. Thank you so much for your time.